Going live and I'm all over the shop. Running late and stuff. Trying to get organized. Move my drink over here. Put a bit more lemonade in it. Hello, Catherine and Megaleech. Nice to see you. Nice and prompt. Trying to get my shit together. I always sing things when I get stressed. I'm trying to work things out. Okay. Where's my stirring spoon? There you go. Singing again. Hey, Invisible Chicken. How you doing? Just stir up my little blood orange concoction. Blood orange juice is quite heavy, and even when I add it last, it sinks to the bottom. I've got to mix it up. Yes, and in case you can't tell, from what I'm wearing, I intend to make some vidges tonight while we're live streaming. RC, never in the field of human drinking. Yes. Wow, I might be a pisshead, but I'm not as much of a pisshead as Winston Churchill was, am I? Guy was notoriously drunk most of the time. How he coped with being such a shithead, I suppose. Because shithead, yes, it's a fake cowhide tie. Do you like it? It's not real cowhide. Someone with clever artistry made it look like a black and white cowhide. I was going to say cotton, but it's probably. In fact, you got to love it. The maker's tag, cat's ass. Very Australian, and this is an Australian-made tie. See, was that the reputation? Half a bottle of champagne for breakfast? I know he was supposedly quite fond of the gin. Let's look it up. Not really worried about Churchill's alcoholism. I'm worried about his racism. How much did Churchill drink? Churchill himself once estimated that he drank a quart of wine and spirits a day, so a litre. So if 2/3 of that was wine and 1/3 was brandy or whiskey, which is apparently his favoured, alcohol would average out 24% by volume, 200 grams a day. All right, here we go. Churchill apologists saying he didn't drink that much. There's always got to be someone saying he didn't drink that much. Visible Chicken got some Seedlip today. It's a lot more expensive bottle of water can slot. Oh, well, that's good. Two of the most persistent myths about Churchill's personal life is that he suffered from depression or bipolar or major depression, that he was an abuser of alcohol. Both myths suffer from similar faults. Persons qualified to diagnose usually have superficial knowledge of Churchill, while those knowledgeable about Churchill usually have superficial understanding of those conditions. That, in and of itself, a sound sentence. Depression fable has been capably addressed by Carol Breckenridge. I didn't even know people said he had depression or similar mental illness, actually. This is literally the first time I'm seeing it. How is it possible for Winston Churchill to drink so much and function at a high level? Author gets wrong. It's quite true that Churchill drank a lot and did so every day. Point is, Churchill as an individual, his limit of moderation was quite high. That's okay. This is apologia for alcoholism. Fair approximation of his minimum daily intake: 3 to 4 week, no more than an ounce whiskey and sodas at 11. 3 to 4 shots of whiskey before. Oh no, sorry. During the. Oh, I thought it was 3 to 4 shots of whiskey at 11 a.m. That's no, but 1 at 11 a.m., 1 at tea time, bedtime. Okay, so 4 whiskeys and sodas. So 4 shots of whiskey a day, an imperial pint of champagne or wine at lunch, followed by a brandy, and an imperial pint of champagne or wine at dinner, followed by a brandy. That is and this guy who is defending him describes that as Churchill's minimum intake every day. It's a fuck of a lot. So 6 glasses of champagne or wine, equal to like 1.5 bottles, modern bottles of wine or champagne, 5 or 6 shots of whiskey or brandy. Oh, spread over 12 to 15 hours. Yeah, by any standards, that's a lot of alcohol. There you go. Jesus. So this is a Churchill apologist, and they're saying the minimum Churchill drank was clearly fucking alcoholic. Okay, you're saying the black dog comes up in his diaries. I've always actually liked that as a metaphor for mental health problems. I think it's really evocative. There's a poetic element to the black dog that I really like. Yeah, there's actual a mental health support group in Australia called the Black Dog. Okay, so Invisible Chicken Seedlip is a distilled non-alcoholic spirit. Nice. So it's got that spirituous taste. It's distilled, but it's not alcoholic, and you got citrus flavor. That sounds good. I see, but not as strange as Prime Minister Gladstone. His diary is full of little whip symbols everywhere, denoting the days he'd beat himself for fun with said whip. I see. Have you made it your practice to look up weird fucking behavior of British prime ministers? I mean, that's a perfectly fine way to spend your time. I wish to stress. I can't help but get a bit of a giggle out of it, to be completely honest. That quite tickles my fancy, actually. Okay, yes, and you have actually made it a practice to read up on the weirdness of British prime ministers. Good job, excellent job. Yeah. There's always been this thing about the British aristocracy and BDSM, whether it's self-flagellation or getting someone else to whip them. It's like the British in high positions want to be subjugated by someone. Safa, you sent me a PM, did you? If you mean via Facebook is really shit at showing PMs. What's the last message I have from you, Safa? Let me have a look. Last message I have from you. God, see, it's fucking playing up. I'll show you. The last message I have from you, if you were talking about Facebook, is the one about P plates, which we did talk about. So if you were expecting something else, I have not actually seen it. So that would explain why I haven't answered. Because I have not seen anything else. Okay, so another good one. RC Gladstone used to go out number 10 at night, find prostitutes to redeem. Oh, God. Yes. What? Yeah, okay, good one. Yes, Megaleech. That is a show that featured at Self-Flagellation brings the show Banshee to mind. Yeah, so far I'm not seeing any messages. But then again, I think the Facebook Messenger thing is shit and stupid, and I often find it hard to navigate, so I often miss messages. So I don't know what's happening there. Tell you what, though, like seeing I'm in the gear because I am going to I'm going to make some milk punches tonight, which means I won't be drinking them tonight. I'm gonna be making them, and then I'll be filtering them overnight. Maybe drink them tomorrow night, party night. But I really got sort of a creative surge. Safa, I went live a couple minutes after 8. I was actually slightly late tonight, and that is the fault mainly of Far Cry 3, which I finally got to work. And then, because then you got to play the whole opening bit before you can take a break, and it was taking longer and longer. And then I had to go number 2s before the live stream, so it was all running. Hey, Peter, how are you doing? RC, full of stupid Churchill trivia. Well, tonight's the night, man. Tonight is the 80th anniversary of his most famous speech, the Darkest Hour speech. So no, Finest Hour, I should say. So yeah, I always search when I'm doing a live stream, is today notable for anything? And there's always those stupid, it's the national or international day of, and most of them are dumb as hell, which is why I often like using them because they sound so stupid. For instance, I've already forgotten what today's were, but I'll quickly look them up. Oh yeah, today is both International Go Fishing Day and International Sushi Day, and you have to admit those two go well together. And it's also, what's today? It is the 18th. National Career Nurse Assistance Day. First day of National Nursing Assistance. These are always American. When it says national, they're always something someone's come up with in America. It's also National Splurge Day. Go out and spend money. You go, yay, capitalism. Well, I actually honored National Splurge Day by buying some more booze. So there you go. Oh my God, Suffer, that thing with Johnson and Tim Tams was weird as fuck. That was so strange. Which, almost goes without saying when you're talking about Joris Bonson. I declare that to be his name now, Joris Bonson, because I am a master of wit and verve. Yeah, Boris Johnson, so fucking weird. But they're like, Wikipedia has a really exhaustive list of events, births, and deaths on this day. And this time of year was very big for Joan of Arc. Joan of Arc was at her peak around this time of year. I've been seeing her pop up a couple times in the last week. In 1429, French forces under the leadership of Joan of Arc defeat the main English army under Sir John Fastolf at the Battle of Patay. This turns the tide of the 100 Years' War. So she's going to get caught and executed at some point. So you get all these things about, on this day in the American Revolutionary War, British troops abandoned Philadelphia. The Battle of Waterloo. That's one of the big historic events for today. The Battle of Waterloo results in the defeat of Napoleon Bonaparte by the Duke of Wellington and Gebhard oh God, that's a great name. Gebhard Lebrecht von Blücher. The second and final defeat of second and final time he's forced to abdicate the throne of France. That's a big one, Waterloo. But interestingly, The United States also declared war on the United Kingdom on this day in 1812, beginning the War of 1812. The English thought they could take back the colony, and it did not work for them. Although they made some inroads, they burnt the White House, as in, to the ground. Ooh, and a great moment in women's suffrage. Susan B. Anthony fined $100 for attempting to vote in the 1872 presidential election. Jesus, $100 in 1872. That must have been an equivalent of about $10,000 today. That must be hugely expensive. Oh, there you go. Amelia Earhart was the first woman to fly in an aircraft across the Atlantic Ocean. She was actually a passenger. The pilot was Wilma Stultz. I'm assuming that's German, which is why I did the German pronunciation. Wilma, not Wilma. Yes, and in 1940, the finest hour speech was delivered by Winston Churchill. Lots of things happened today. Oh, yes, RC, I do remember seeing the documentary footage of us beating Rod Steiger at Waterloo. Alexander, that's basically what Johnson was actually saying at a press conference. She was saying, you want to get Tim Tams for less than 10 quid a pack. He's doing this thing about, how long will Britons be denied getting Arnott's Tim Tams at a decent price? Fucking strange. Really weird. What other big things happened on this day? It's actually just, not every day is as interesting as this. There's a few good ones. Strategic Arms Limitation Treaty 2, signed by the United States and the Soviet Union in 1979. That would have been Jimmy Carter, I suppose. In 1983, astronaut Sally Ride becomes the first American woman in space. She's aboard a space shuttle. Ooh, big clash in the miners' strike in the Thatcher years, 1984. And who's interesting who was born today? Going back in history, lots of names I do not recognize. Oh, speaking of Bonaparte and Waterloo, one of Napoleon's daughters was born on this day, and she died in 1907. There you go. Another bunch of names I do not recognize. Still in the 1800s, though, and my history is not that good, so it's not surprising that I don't know who the fuck these people are. Now we're in the 20th century, and I still don't know them. Good Lord, this is no one notable born today? Up to 1920, and I still don't know anyone. No, there's all these names, and I don't know them. Oh, Barack Obama's dad was born in 1936. His actual birth father, Barack Obama Sr. He was a Kenyan economist, and he died in 1982. There you go. So far, no one I really recognize, just the daughter of someone famous and the father. Oh, there you go. This is the first one I know. Oh, actually, okay, Thabo Mbeki, 23rd president of South Africa, was born in 1942. As was McCarthy. Okay, that's the sort of first real pop culture one I've seen. So there's someone I knew who's born today. All these other names who I've never heard of. Yep. No. Oh, Alice. Speaking of pop culture, Alison Moyet from Yazoo and her own solo career was born in 1961 on this day. There you go. That's kind of my generation's music. Still not getting any real. Paul McCartney's pretty big, I guess. But now we're into the 70s. I'm still not really recognizing people. No, there's not that many notable people. Oh, well, there you go. That's on this day. Hey, how's it going, buddy? How you doing, my man? Good to see you. So, the other place I look for recently is the Difford's Guide for what's on this. Oh, that is depressing, Keiko. Alison Moyet's come out as a transphobe. She's supportive of J.K. Rowling. But that's that generation. I mean, there was a really good piece written by an American sci-fi writer who's about my age, Gen X, and his name's John Scalzi. And it basically, he's saying it is sadly common for Gen X people to have a massive blind spot with trans issues. So, and that's like, really open-minded or progressive people still having this massive blind spot and not understanding trans issues. And he's saying it's like every generation he thinks, probably has their thing that to a younger generation, it's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Why are you so down on this? Something wrong with you. Like, boomers had really bad race issues. And one of the things that Gen X embraced much more was gay rights. And but it was a reasonable observation on his point that a lot of Gen X people who absolutely don't regard themselves as bigots have this massive blind spot as to why their transphobic attitudes are really bigoted. It's funny. I think it's bad being a Harry Potter fan now. Imagine how the people who liked Hitler's artwork felt. Well, popular folklore is that's the whole problem, that no one particularly liked it. But yes, there are, of course, people who collect Hitler's artwork. Yes, Keiko, I hit that argument recently on Facebook, where I was just pointing out not only is this latest rubbish from J.K. Rowling transphobic bullshit, but it's so fucking stupid that it's also throwing a bunch of cis women under the bus. She tied having periods to being a woman, and it's just like, so that's to you, that's what it means to be a woman, bodily functions. So you don't give a shit about the number of cis women who don't have periods? They don't count? Is that what you're saying? That's what this reductionist, absolutely critically flawed logic of the transphobes is just like, God, so that's in your view is what it means to be a woman. Okay. And so I was just pointing out that Rowling's bullshit was so stupid, she's actually throwing cis women under the bus, making such stupid statements. And I did get a few people try to shout me down like, you're a man, you're not allowed to tell women what to do. I'm saying, don't be a transphobic piece of shit. If that upsets you, I don't fucking care. You're being a bigot. And nobody who is a bigot, who is really actively hurting someone, has a protected status in my eyes. So watch out for the scary white cis het man who's not scared to have an attitude, an opinion. Yes, that's really rare, isn't it? Cis het white men who have opinions and aren't afraid to share them. Yes, I am a unique snowflake and special. Hi, Andrew. How are you doing? I'm sure Peter is happy to say hello to you as well. Yes. So, yeah, I was talking about things that happen on this day. And I often look on the Difford's cocktail website because they have a cocktail of the day that they somehow tie in with an event of the day. And was there anything fun I can do there? And yeah, like today they had one for the Battle of Waterloo. It was like with Napoleon brandy. But then I sort of went down this rabbit hole, and because we're about to hit the summer solstice, and I was looking ahead, and they had some suggested drinks for with a summer theme, and there's a couple of really good sounding cocktails that I want to try. There's one called a rose petal that's got a vodka, white creme de cacao, lychee liqueur, grenadine. I have all these things, and what they say is like you stir all the ingredients apart from the grenadine, and then pour those into a glass, and then pour the grenadine right in the middle. And because the grenadine is much heavier than all of the other ingredients, it should sink right to the bottom. And so you'll get this nice effect with the red on the bottom and the other stuff on top. And they actually suggest just sipping the top layer and not drinking the grenadine at the bottom. Like you'll get a little bit of grenadine sweetness. But they recommend not mixing the grenadine in and just appreciating. And it looked really cool. So I'm definitely going to make that. In fact, I want to make that one for a video because it looks cool. I think I will do a summer thing because it's midsummer. Ooh, Aussie government, going to send me a link. Some scientists believe we may have a monthly hormone. Oh, that's interesting. Some scientists believe men have a monthly hormone cycle as well. I thought we were just shitheads the entire time. Yeah, that would be interesting. I wonder what they would tie it to, because with women there is an obvious like hormonal fluctuation with periods, and that it affects. Here I am pontificating and stating the obvious. It affects women differently. Different women are affected differently. I'd say it's not impossible for men to have some sort of weird fluctuation. Would explain a lot if there was something hormonal driving our weird behavior. So anyway, there was that. The summer rose cocktail, which looks good visually. This one I really like the sound of, the summer Americano. A little bit of cocktail trivia for you. One of the very popular cocktails at the moment, the Negroni, is actually a variant on an older cocktail, the Americano. The Americano was vermouth, bitter, usually an Italian red bitter liqueur. Campari is most famously used, but there's a lot of alternatives you can use as well. So it's like vermouth, the red bitter liqueur, and tonic or soda. And the legend has it that the Negroni was accidentally invented, and I think that was the guy's name or title, something Negroni, in Italia, of course. And someone mixed him a drink. And no, I think the rumor goes, he said, I want you to beef it up. Forget the soda, forget the water, add gin. So beefing this up, because the Americano is comparatively low alcohol cocktail with vermouth, the liqueur, and water, whether it be tonic or soda or whatever. That's comparatively low alcohol. You swap out the water for gin and the alcohol content spikes sharply upwards. So that's the Americano. This one, they have the summer Americano, just a little variation with vermouth, the red liqueur, and gentian, which, well, gentian is a root, or the root of the gentian plant is what you make the liqueur with. And it's kind of, I think it's a predecessor to gin, I think. I might be making that up in my head because gin and gin, but I'm sure I've read that, but I could be wrong. But I don't have gentian, but I've got an Australian liqueur, Ochar Gold, which is a good substitute for that. So I could do a summer Australiano rather than an Americano, summer Australiano, which would be an Australian vermouth, an Australian bit of red liqueur, the Ochar Gold, some Australian bitters, and a bit of tonic water to top it up. So I could do that. I like the sound of that one too. Andrew, it's pissing down rain and you have to work outside. That does suck. That does suck. I hope you struggle through it, man. There you go. Keiko, you wouldn't be surprised if there's a fluctuation in sperm level through hormones. Yeah, that would make sense. Yeah, see, but you're then disavowing that, knowing nothing, Keiko. You got to be more like confident white men. Talk really authoritatively on stuff you don't know anything about. So good morning in the UK. Your friend Safira is a trans woman. She's so pissed off at rolling in a bullshit. Oh, Jesus, Hope Monkey. Yes, absolutely. Again, this is cishet white male, the least affected person by transphobic bullshit. And I'm really pissed off by it because it's just fucking stupid. The transphobe arguments don't hold up biologically, don't hold up sociologically, don't hold up culturally, don't hold up historically. Their arguments are reductionist and hurt cis women. And it's just like, Christ, how about you just fucking let people live their life? Like this ridiculous fictional predator trans woman. Hey, there are horrible trans people. That's what equality is all about. And I'm all for passing judgment on someone who's a horrible piece of shit, even if they're trans, and possibly even more so if they're a horrible piece of shit and they try to use their trans status as a shield. I would have no time for that. But you don't have to fucking slander everyone because of a theoretical, abstract bad person. Just let people live their fucking lives. Strictly Sega, you and your partner Sophie have the day off today. Good for you. Good for you. Yes, Keiko, I actually agree with you that most cis women support trans women. God, I read a funny article a while back. The BBC tried to have this staff meeting with women who work at the BBC about the status of trans women. And the fucking battle lines got drawn really quickly. It was the Trans Women Aren't Women camp was almost exclusively older Gen X and Boomer women. So this is like my generation and the second wave feminists that I grew up with, who have very fixed ideas that got fixed in the 70s or 80s and haven't changed. And the younger millennial and Zoomer women, we just had no time for them. It's just like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And apparently, these transphobes were so sure there was going to be this solidarity thing going on, and they were completely fucking shocked that the younger women were just, what the fuck is wrong with you? It was pretty interesting. The generational divide is obviously not universal. There are young transphobes and there are older, very pro-trans people. But there is a bias. There is a generational bias in attitudes, without a doubt. Okay, go when trans person's horrible. Oh yeah. The concept that it's being trans that makes them horrible. No, they're just people are horrible. People are horrible, and you know, although it's tempting sometimes, when I see a straight white man being horrible, I don't immediately go, that straight white men be like that. Some are. And just that some of them are very loud, it makes you think that it's more than it actually is. But yes, we don't want any of that rubbish. Oops, there's a mysterious stranger coming into the kitchen. What do you... Isn't there? You don't even have to get on camera.
It's on camera in the background.
Oh, your reflection. My big head's blocking the reflection, okay? There were two. Someone opened the other one, or?
No, fine.
Oh, it's fine. I saw something happen. There's young Miss Angry's one wish when I went to the shops is get me some of that special flavored oat milk. An Australian milk distributor is doing these really weird and wacky milk flavors. They're flavoring them like all sorts of weird lollies. So yes. Hope Monkey, Safira Olsen is a fantastic author. You should check her out. Hope Monkey, what does Safira Olsen write? And I am going to actually look it up. Here we go. Safira Olsen is an author, illustrator, and poet. There you go. Self-described trans-literary heretic. Nice. Okay, so there's, what's on here? Parables. Ah, the individual pieces. Okay. I want a little bit of information about Safira. Safira Olsen's the pen name of author, illustrator, and poet Safira Olsen. Olsen French. Born in Cornwall, she now lives in Luton. Faithfully LGBT, she's a trans woman with 6 published novels, including An Android Awakes, Fictional Alignment, and the Dandelion Trilogy. Nominated for the Galaxy British Book Awards and the Arthur C. Clarke Awards, she's been a senior editor of The View from Here literary magazine, as interviewed authors such as Julian Barnes, Ian Banks, and Marcus Zuzak. She also has a short story collection published by Elsewhere Press called Parables, which was born out of her experiences and deconstruction and escape from a strict evangelical church. Stanley Park was her first collection of poetry, which was a surprise to her, The Girl in the Garden even more so. When not writing, she loves spending time in the countryside and enjoys watching Audrey Hepburn movies, listening to Dido and Caravan Palace. There you go, sci-fi writer and poet. Cool. I was strictly saying, you went to a movie, Call Me Buana, made by Eon Productions, the only non-James Bond film they made for 55 years. Oh, there you go. That is an interesting bit of trivia. That production company only makes James Bond films, and they've suddenly branched out. Now that cinemas are starting to open again, I am looking at what's coming up that I might want to see. And yeah, in a month or so, Tenet comes out, and I'm very intrigued by that. You look weird AF. But yeah, an actual original concept sci-fi action designed to stretch your brain. Oh, okay, it's not a new film, Strictly Sega. Call Me Buana came out right after Dr. No, and it looks like it. Oh no! Oh no! It wouldn't hold up to today's standards. You're saying is what? And oh no, yes, that you mentioned it was a Bob Hope movie. Yes, Bob Hope movie. Yes, okay. Well, I've seen a few of the Bob Hope movies from that period, and I feel like I wouldn't be surprised. Or the road movies he did with Bing Crosby and very cutesy old-time vaudeville sort of stuff. Oh god, speaking of old movies, so on Foxtel there's a couple of channels that play old things, and particularly on the weekends, every now and then I'll be flicking through And there's like an old movie that's so cheesy and classic, I have to watch it, like particularly Carry On movies. There will be old Carry On movies, and I think I've got to watch at least a bit of the Carry On movie. They're absolutely they're absolutely wild. The old Carry On movies, and yeah, there's just you just sort of watch certain things, and it's like, the St. Trinian schoolgirl movies would come on sometimes, and it's just like, wow, different times. And there was an Alf Garnett movie, Till Death Us Do Part. For those who don't know, that was a long. I think it ran for quite a while in the UK, with a central character is a bigot who's made fun of. It was remade essentially in America as All in the Family, which was a very popular show in the US in the 70s. And it was remade in Australia as Kingswood Country, which I have to admit I watched all the time and loved as a kid. But again, the central joke is the central character is a bigot who's stupid, who's making fun, but then he spouts a lot of bigoted cliches. And so I didn't know there was a Till Death Us Do Part movie, and I watched it for a while. It kind of wasn't that engaging, but it was interesting because the time span of the movie is a couple of decades. And it started just before World War II, and Alf Garnett is just pro-British, even if what British is changes all the time, and so he's very pro the Prime Minister before Churchill, and he thinks Churchill is crap, but then of course the negotiations with Germany fail, war happens, and Churchill's prime minister. So then he's 100% behind Churchill. And then every setback in the war, he always has an explanation for, and there were many setbacks. And so they just kept putting Alf Garnett in situations where the thing he said previously has been completely disproven, and he just flips. He's like a Trump supporter. Something that they say is completely disproven, and they don't even slow down. They just flip and go on to something else. But yeah, it was sort of mildly amusing, but not amusing enough to keep me watching it, essentially. So RC, oh yeah, White Christmas had a blackface scene. The old Bing Crosby was cut in the 80s. Back when it was somehow okay for men in their late 40s to openly sexually objectify teens. Thinking of Carry On Camping. Oh dear. Oh my God. All the Carry On films were outrageous. Also, Ozzy, you're thinking you think it's not okay for men in entertainment in their 40s to openly sexually objectify teens? I feel like I still see that all the time. Like that gross song from a couple of years ago, Blurred Lines, and the guy who was doing the humpy dance with Miley Cyrus on the music awards show, and he's like 20 years older than her. Like, ugh. What was the last Carry On one? Like, there were some really old Carry On ones that like were in black and white. And it's interesting because it's looking like they were made in the 60s. So color was around. Color had been around for a while. So I don't know if these black and white Carry On films were just made on the cheap and it didn't matter if black and white went in cinema, or they were never shown in the cinemas. They were actually intended to be shown on TV, which was only in black and white. So why would you shoot in color? Hey, Kirsten, how are you? No need to apologize. Life happens. God, speaking of life happened, I've been rambling for almost an hour. I had no idea I'd been rabbiting on for that long. See, Carry On Emmanuel. I think the last one I saw it was not strictly speaking a Carry On film. It was Up Pompeii. It just had the really camp guy, Frankie Howard. No, he's not the really camp guy, is he? But Frankie Howard was the central character in Up Pompeii. God, and there was so much nudity in it. I didn't remember it. Like, I probably saw cut versions on TV when I was a kid, when they used to really heavily edit stuff for TV. But yeah, there's an Up Pompeii. There was so much, and not just boobs. I'm talking about pubes and whatnot. They're not, no one's doing leg spread stuff, but lots of full frontal nudity. And it was like, oh, okay. I had no idea they got away with this. Hope Monkey. The first one was Carry On Sergeant, had William Hartnell as the drill sergeant. Every now and then, his name pops up in these old movies. Like, I'll see the credits run and I'll say William Hartnell's in it. And as a mad Doctor Who fan, I feel compelled to watch it just to see William Hartnell. Like, he was in The Mouse That Roared, which is a really weird satire film. It's quite funny. See, the actors had a set pay rate, so they're getting paid the same amount in the 70s as they were in the 50s. Ripped off, but producers always rip off actors, though. Well gifted Aspie. Churchill's a stupid git if you thought you'd ignore his racism. He wouldn't want you to ignore it. He was proud of it. Like I said, when people say, well, why are you saying Churchill's the racist? Maybe he said something. No, he always said excessively vile racist things. And he didn't just say racist things. As a soldier, he went on mad murder sprees. And as a director of policy, he as massively responsible for the Bengal famine that killed millions. It was direct policy decisions that caused the deaths of millions. He was racist as fuck. That's interesting, RC. So you're into the folklore. Sid James did his own private product placement deals in some Carry On films with whiskey and smokes, etc. I have to admit, a little round of applause for Sid James on that. That getting around them, that's pretty clever. I tell you what, I'm going to bring my my camera's here. I forgot to bring my tripod in. I'm going to make some drinks. I'm going to make a milk punch. Might actually make a cocktail to try now, but I'm definitely making a milk punch, so it'll be ready for your party night tomorrow night. Though I do have one in the fridge I could try out, but I'm going to make one. All right. I'm going to do my first almond milk experiment. I just got to get my tripod. So this is going to be my second go at a vegan milk punch. And hello, Annette. Yes, another fun bits of trivia, RC. Churchill personally poisoned village wells in India, wanted the RAF to use mustard gas. He very proudly talked about how in Afghanistan did the whole thing with destroying crops, poisoning wells, leveling villages. Winston Churchill was a nasty racist fuck. He led Britain to victory against the Nazis. I'm not going to try and say anything revisionist, but we have no way of knowing if he's the only person he could have done it. We have no way of knowing if he was the best person. We all just remember his predecessor trying appeasement, which failed miserably because underestimated Hitler. And look, don't fool yourself. There were significant amounts of the British aristocracy and powerful, up to and including the British royal family, who would have been absolutely fine with the Nazis if the Nazis had contained their aspirations in certain directions. It was only self-preservation. It was only the realization of, oh, no, the Nazis aren't going to stop till they control everything, including us. And even with that, there was a quite solid chunk of the British aristocracy who would have welcomed it, because they're just fucking fascists at heart. And they would have eagerly collaborated with the Nazis. And we were all better off that Churchill wouldn't collaborate with the Nazis. But you can't help thinking, when you look at his history, he would have been quite okay with the Nazis if they had tempered their aspirations a little. Don't really see I don't really see Churchill aggressively standing up for instance, Jewish people, if there was no self-interest in there as well. So, yes. Oh, that was another good one, RC. When the Bengal Famine was happening, he didn't just ignore Australian PM Curtin's offer of wheat to India. It was also Canada and possibly the States as well. Multiple countries were saying, we can send grain to India. They'll look at this horrible famine. And Churchill said no. He did not give a shit that millions of people were dying. Not a good guy. That's why you had so many Hitler sympathizers in India, because they were like, oh, fuck it, this guy's fighting Churchill. Maybe he's got some other good qualities. Because after centuries of exploitation and, the British and Dutch and other colonials killed millions. Like, we'll never know how many people were killed over the centuries. Probably easily in the tens of millions. Just usually by famine, but a decent chunk were by, being shot and whatnot, and sabred and bayoneted and such like. Famine was by far the deadliest weapon that was used repeatedly over the centuries. But, fucking hell. So, yeah, musical aviator. I think that's basically, Churchill wouldn't have worried too much about Nazis wanting to kill Jewish people or racially impure people. But yes, the whole expansion and wanting to take over all of Europe, obviously including the UK as well, he's not really going along with that. So I'm going to do it my button so I can look professional for my video. So, yeah, this is my second run at a vegan milk punch. I actually made 2 with coconut milk, and I really did not like them. I basically remade them with dairy milk. This Thai has a lot of friction. Like, it's not real cowhide, but it's very hairy and has a lot of friction, which makes it really hard to adjust. Hey, Justin, how you doing? So I figured if I was going to make a milk punch with almond milk, which we have because Mrs. Angry likes almond milk on her cereal and other things, I would make a cocktail that already had a nutty profile. When I said that to Mrs. Angry, she just goes, almond milk doesn't taste like nuts. I went, don't spoil my plan. So I found one when I was looking up the summer drinks called a Nutty Summer that has Advocaat, which is a creamy brandy liqueur, amaretto, which is an almond liqueur. I'm going to substitute my macadamia liqueur for that. Coconut, rum liqueur, pineapple juice, and then it's cream and half and half. So, okay, no cream, no avocado. I'm going to do brandy, and I'm going to do macadamia, and I'm going to do coconut, and I'm going to do pineapple juice. And then I'm going to use almond milk, which has fat content, so should curdle. The pineapple juice should make it curdle. And then I should be able to filter it. And I will see what it tastes like. Difford's described this as a flavoursome after-dinner tipple for summer. So the way they do it, it's very creamy because Advocaat's a creamy liqueur. And they say actually put cream in it. Which, incidentally, that's another type of milk punch I'm going to attempt to make. Not necessarily tonight. One's probably enough for one session. But because I've always got, okay, here's a cocktail. Now I'm going to add it to milk to get the reaction, and then the curds will filter it, and I'll get that nice clear drink that I get. But there are a lot of cocktails that have milk or cream as their default ingredients. And you have to shake those like a mofo, because the instant you add the milk to the booze or the citrus or the booze and citrus to the milk curdles. That's the whole process of milk clarification. But if you shake really hard, it re-blends and makes it sort of creamy. But if I don't shake it, if I actually accentuate the milk curdling thing, then filter it. So I haven't decided which cocktail to do that with, but there are a lot of cocktails that have milk or cream in them. So I will have to decide which one I do that with. But I'm going to do this one, the Nutty Summer. So we'll go from being a Nutty Summer cocktail to Nutty Summer milk punch, almond milk punch. Vegan, you know. Not that I'm even remotely vegan. I am like I'm too lazy to be vegetarian, let alone vegan. Just like dead animals taste good. What can I tell you? I had a bacon. Actually, it was a beef chicken bacon burger. So it's like 3 different animals died for my dinner tonight. That's how much of a bastard I am. 3 different animals, a moo cow and a chicken and a piggy, all died for my dinner. Again, okay, weird thing just popped in my head. A memory from years ago when I was at college with some friends going out to a restaurant, and we're ordering food and looking at the menu, and there was quail on the menu, and I'd never had quail. And with these, I think we're all talking to each other what we're going to have. And we're going to have steak. A few people are having steak, and I think I'm going to try the quail. And these girls who are at the table, their faces just fell, and I'm like, "What? You can't have that." I went, "You're having steak. You're not a vegetarian. What are you talking about?" And they go, "But a quail, that's a whole life. You're consuming a whole life." And I was like, "Your steak is a whole life. There is not a cow out in a paddock on crutches. They didn't cut off one of its legs and then give it a prosthetic, okay? They killed a cow to make your steak." And they go, "Yeah, but like multiple steaks from the one cow, but you're going to consume an entire life." And so I bowed to peer pressure and didn't. Anyway, sometime later, I went back to this place and I was going, "I'm not with those people. I'm going to have the quail." And I went there, and it was actually 3 quails. So that would have made me look even worse. It was 3 full lives. But anyway, Abigail, you're watching from a VR game, so you can't respond to a lot of stuff. But if you want to ask something directly, ask where. Cool. Watching from within a VR game. We're living in the future, people. We're living in the future. All right, I'm going to set up this camera. It's like, how old are you, Angry? I have to make a noise when I get up off a chair, years old. Yes, but how old are you? It's like, well, I fucked up my shoulder from sleeping so badly I had to go to a physio. I'm that many years old. I'm old enough to fuck up my shoulder just by sleeping. No strenuous activity, no stress, no strain. By sleeping the wrong way, I can fuck my shoulder up enough to need a physio. So, right. Now, okay, so I want to get some ingredients ready. Right. I want brandy. I want mac, which should be down here. Brandy and mac. What else do I want? Doubly check the recipe. We want the coconut and the pineapple juice. Okay. Good. I think I put coconut one over here. Yes, I did. You know what? I'm going to put a little bit of overproof rum in this just to kick it up a notch. All right. Bottles, stop rubbing against each other. I don't have that much of my overproof rum left. Gonna have to buy some more overproof rum. Okay. So I think that's everything. We can do this. So let's just shake brandy, mac, coconut, pineapple. Yep. And just to make it more volume-wise, I was thinking of adding some ice here. I've got some peach iced tea. Yeah, okay. A thing to do it in. Okay. So I get my mixing glasses, basically. Probably a big bottle to strain it into. I think I got it all together. All right. I'll leave the tea for last because if my thing's too full, I won't do it. All right. That makes sense. I'm just going to do a little thingy. Hey, gorgeous. Would you mind turning it down a little bit? Okay. I'll do this so you can see me. So I am just going to do 2 shots of brandy, 1.5 of everything else, and half a shot of overproof rum. Okay. That makes sense. Right, I'll just make sure. Okay, I'm going to do this couple things. Get my camera switched on. Put this curtain across to get rid of the reflection. Oh, God damn it. All right, that'll do. We had a proper curtain rather than a. God, it's so funny how everything goes to darkness when I walk away, but when I come back, because the reflection of the light off me, it auto adjusts. It's a weird old world. So, going to make this. I need the almond milk. All right. I hope the almond milk has enough fat content because that's the critical thing. It doesn't have fat content as high as the milk, dairy milk. So hopefully it's enough. So 2 shots of brandy, 1.5 of everything else. 2 shots of pineapple juice. Right. Adding shiz up in my head. 2, 5, 7, 8. So yeah, all right. 2 shots of milk. That's okay. No, it's science. The booze to milk should be 4-1. So this is all science. You're getting to see science in action here. So, yeah. So I have a couple of excuses when I'm making stuff. So, when I'm not stealing Kirsten's line that not an alcoholic, I'm a supporter of small business. When I'm doing this sort of stuff, it's like, oh, I'm not an alcoholic, I'm a scientist doing experiments. So remember, kids, the difference between science and screwing around is writing it down. I don't want to be about here. I probably want to adjust that angle to about there. Right. That's about right. Think we're on. Oh, nice. Abigail, you've got a browser window floating in your world. So you can see. I love it. It's fucking science. We live in the future. Oh, I forgot to turn my audio recorder on. Where did I put it? Okay. We want the audio recorder because otherwise the sound sounds shitty. Old faithful Warhorse Zoom. Over 10 years old, still going. What a ledge. And okay. Going. And going. G'day, cocktail lovers. How are you? I hope you're keeping well. Now, for some more cocktail fun, I am actually continuing my experiments with milk punch or milk clarified drinks. This is going to be another experiment with making a vegan milk punch or a vegan milk clarified drink. I tried this before with coconut milk, which worked, but I honestly didn't like the taste of the result. I much preferred the taste when the drink was done with dairy milk. But coconut's not the only vegan milk. All the various nut milks, in theory, work as well. And that is what I'm going to try here. I'm going to try some almond milk. All you need from the milk, and I know some people get very upset with calling the nut milks, but I'm just going to call it that, almond milk. What you need is fat content. I'm hoping the almond milk has enough fat content to actually work for this drink. It's only got about half the fat content of dairy milk, but it should be enough. And I've read cases of people making it and they say it works, it's fine. So we're going to give it a go. And I thought, seeing it's almond milk, it's a nut milk, I'm going to try it with a drink that already has a nut flavor profile. I'm doing my own variation and substitutions of a recipe I found online for a drink that had amaretto in it, which is an almond liqueur. I'm going to use an Australian macadamia nut liqueur that's just called Mac, and a few other minor substitutions in there. So basically, the booze side is going to be brandy, Mac, coconut rum liqueur, and just for gigs, I'm going to put in half a shot of overproof rum just to sort of kick it up a bit, and some pineapple juice. And if I'm feeling creative, I may even put some tea in it as well, because that has traditionally been an ingredient in milk punches just to increase the volume of it. But I'm going to make that decision as we go along. I'll mix it up, see what sort of volume we end up with, and take it from there. First cap off the rank, doing 2 ounces, 60 mils of brandy. The original recipe I'm basing this off actually said Advocaat. It was a very creamy drink. Advocaat is like a creamy brandy liqueur. And I'm not going for the creamy side of things in this case, but I'm just substituting brandy for Advocaat. Oh, almost poured it in the wrong thing. Dang. Annette, where's Aidsy? Aidsy is still in hospital. Will be for the foreseeable future. I'm sure he'd update me if he was out and about. So. We're also adding 1.5 ounces, 45 mils of a coconut liqueur. Running a bit low on my Mac. Looks like it's time to go shopping for this. I had this for a while, a year or more, because again, with an interesting flavor, I don't know about anyone else, but I tend not to use this, every day, not even every week, but it's a great flavor. So when it runs out, I'm definitely getting some more. But in this case, another 1.5 ounces or 45 mils of the Mac liqueur. Oh, I love excuses to go shopping for booze. Oh no, I'm out. I've got to get some more. Final booze component, I'm going to put in just 1/2 ounce, 15 mils of some overproof rum from Plantation, just to kick it up a notch, because it gets diluted by the milk aspect of the milk punch. So why not just give it a little extra kick just for a few giggles with some overproof rum? Yeah, that went everywhere. It's not even carbonated. The fuck is that about? Another important element of a milk punch or a milk clarified drink is the acid content, most easily gained through a citrus juice. In this case, I'm doing 2 ounces, 60 mils of pineapple juice. And to add something interesting to the flavor profile, I'm going to put in 60 mils of peach tea as well. So that's it for the actual drinky side of it. Now we need to add this to the milk. Now the ratio you want of milk to the drink is 4 to 1. Should have said it the other way around. Drink to milk is 4 to 1. So I'm going to put 2 ounces of milk in another container and then add this to it, and we should see the curdling. Oh, where are the measurements on this? All right, I'm just going to rinse my jigger. That sounds like a euphemism, doesn't it? I'm just going to rinse the jigger, folks. I'm going to declare that's official bartender slang for going off for a quickie. Just going to rinse the jigger. Oh, you should put this. This is gold. This should be on the video. Ooh, what a weird thing. Okay, almond milk. Now for the moment of truth, adding our drink to the almond milk. In it goes. Now, in my experience with dairy milk, you see curds form straight away. A little stir. I am pleased to say I see curds forming straight away. This is looking like, at least on the functional level, it will work as I want it to. Then it just remains, what is it going to be like taste-wise? Well, that's going to take a while. Oh yeah, the curds are forming very well in this. I'm going to leave this to sit, finish the curdling process for about half an hour. You'll see some guides that say to do it for longer, like even overnight or 24 hours. I've never found that to be necessary. So I'm going to leave this sit for a little while. I'm very comfortable with the way it's forming curds now. And then I'm going to filter it. I'll probably end up filtering it more than once. That's a process that takes hours. You don't need to see that. I'm going to come back thanks to the magic of editing when I've filtered it. Filtering is really simple. You can use cheesecloth. There are some specialty products you can get, one with the humorous name of a nut milk bag. I literally just use coffee filters, paper coffee filters in a funnel, pour them through, filters it very finely. The curds actually do a lot of the heavy lifting with the filtering, but it takes a while. Even for this small amount of liquid, can easily take an hour or possibly even more to filter through. So this is a fun little project. Hey, at the time I'm making this, you might be watching this in the future when life's returned to something approximating normal. We're all, at least most of us, are still spending a lot of time in our own home, somewhat isolated from the outside world. We all need little projects, so do some milk punch because it occupies you for a few hours. All right. And I need you now. Let's stop that, and let's stop that. All right, well, it looks like it's going to work. Just won't know for a while. All right. I have no idea why that goddamn pineapple juice attacked me. Megaleech, that is a good question. Almond milk is basically half the fat of dairy milk. Should we will find out. We will see how effective that is. Strictly Sega. Would be awesome if we could show the filter time-lapsed. If I had higher production values, I could do that. It's just pretty boring because it's stuff dripping through a filter. Yeah. Stella. I just said, oh, be fucked. Didn't expect almond milk to work with this. No, I looked up. All it needs is fat content, which is why skim milk is a no-no. And even light milk is probably not worth the effort. So anything with a fat content will work. Strictly saying, I do actually like the idea of a time lapse of the filter. That would just require someone with more patience than me to set the whole thing up and leave the camera run for a couple of hours. Murphy Sign, hello, sir. Good evening and welcome. I trust this evening finds you well. What does the drink taste like? Not bad, considering I didn't put... Oh, it's got pineapple in. Oh, actually, no, still got my fruit juice. I could have a boozy drink. Now, the other question... Now, maybe I'll make some more tomorrow night, because I really want to make these other summer ones. Summer Americano and a Summer Rose. I definitely want to make them, because they sound cool. And because Pineapple Day is coming up. I think that's next week. So I'll have to make some pineapple drinks. And I found this as a whole bunch of ones. The brandy fix, which is cognac or brandy, pineapple juice, lemon juice, sugar syrup, yellow shot. That would be very sweet. Pineapple juice and sugar syrup. The club cocktail, which is cognac, maraschino, pineapple juice, and bitters. That's a simple one. Sounds quite nice. That's the classic combination of spirit, liqueur, and juice. Cognac, maraschino, and pineapple. That's a good classic combination. The El Presidente is rum, pineapple, lime juice, and pomegranate. God, that sounds pretty good. Ooh, geez, I might make that with the Beanley. So the El Presidente is a daiquiri variation. French daiquiri is rum and raspberry and lime and pineapple and daiquiri bitters. Ooh, that's a fun name. A Goombay Smash. Navy rum, triple sec, coconut rum, pineapple. Fuck, that sounds good. Rum and an orange liqueur and coconut and pineapple and lime. God damn. That actually sounds pretty good. Wow, geez. Okay, I'm watching the Mofo Sign. I hope I didn't miss too much. You missed 75% of the stream, but that's okay. Ooh, you're releasing stuff for the Designing Open Democracy podcast about cooperatives. There you go, in favour of cooperative businesses like Bank Australia, one of the few banks not to be found dodgy in the Royal Commission. Oh, the big banks were dodgy AF. They were like super bad, in fact. Platform cooperatives. I have not heard that specific term. Sounds interesting. Yeah, this is supposed to be pineapple drinks, but they're all rum drinks, because it's like pineapple and rum go hand in hand. These are all just variations of rum with lots of juices. This pina colada recipe is rum, cachaça, pineapple juice, cream of coconut, lime juice, single cream. Pineapple cardamom martini, vodka, pineapple juice, sugar syrup, and cardamom. That's stretching the definition of a martini, certainly. Put a cardamom pod in there. Wow, that's a bit racy. I love this recipe for a pineapple daiquiri. Their recipe is pineapple rum, pineapple juice, lime juice, pineapple liqueur, sugar syrup, tiki bitter. So it's like pineapple, pineapple rum, pineapple liqueur, pineapple juice. Very pineapple. It's a second pineapple martini. It's pineapple and cardamom martini. And this one is vodka, pineapple, lime, pineapple liqueur, sugar. That's even further away from martini. It's quite lazy calling that martini. Martini. A pine cone is pisco. Ooh, you don't get mead. You don't get mead very often in a cocktail. A pine cone is pisco, which is basically Peruvian brandy. Mead, which is honey wine, pineapple juice, vanilla liqueur, and pine liqueur. Wow. Or a pisco punch. Pisco, pineapple, orange juice, lemon juice, sugar syrup, champagne. There you go. I don't really like champagne in a drink. A Rhine wine cobbler. It's a fun name, a Rhine wine cobbler. Pineapple, Riesling wine, orange juice, and sugar syrup. Locust Tripper, you just got home from a busy day sending all your eBay 3D prints. Made $1,000. God, knocking it out of the park, man. Excellent. That's a good day's work. Stella, I can understand switching to Bank Australia from CBA. CBA sucking, as they do. Nova, what if Uber was a cooperative app instead, as opposed to being pure fucking evil? Okay, a platform cooperative is cooperatively owned, democratically governed business that establishes a computing platform, uses website, mobile app, or protocol to facilitate sale of goods and services. Good in practice, but evil fucking companies like Uber would do a lot to stop that from happening. Ha! Oh, that sounds like fun. I haven't seen that, Strictly Sega. Clive Palmer doing an offensive ad telling Queensland and West Australia open the borders. Fuck, I hate Clive Palmer. He is such a piece of shit. Absolute piece of shit. Oh, Locust Trooper, iPhone covers and iPhone holders. Dude, big market for them. Big market. 300 units. Nice. Dude, that's, that's excellent. There you go, man. You've got yourself a product there, and you're knocking it out of the park by the sounds of it. Good to hear. Like to hear people having a bit of success in their lives. Always seems pretty good. So I feel like having a drinky. And the only question is to just get the one that's in the fridge, or because I wanted to make these cocktails. Probably really only one. Yeah, I don't know if I want to make the Americano, make it Australiano. Yes, cardamom. I used to actually have cardamom bitters, and I use them all. But I've got some other herby, spicy bitters I can substitute. And some tonic water to top it up. Kirsten, having a martini because the day totally sucked. Well, there you go. Martini to make things better, Kirsten. I can empathize with that. I really want to try this summer rose cocktail. Vodka, creme de cacao, lychee liqueur, and grenadine. And you try and get a separation with the grenadine on the bottom. Little bit of a challenge. I like it. Like a little bit of a challenge. And if I do it on the live stream, if it fails, you'll forgive me, and I'll never appear on my channel if it doesn't work. Oh, you can actually use metal filament in your 3D printer. Oh, that opens some interesting doors. Oh, yeah, mofo, we've been talking about the branch stacking scandal. Yeah, the Liberal Party don't want to jump on branch stacking. The only reason Scummo is in Parliament, let alone Prime Minister, is because of branch stacking. An absolutely shitty backroom deal done to get rid of the guy who'd been voted for by the branches in the Shire, and Scummo and his power broker cronies just swooped in. It goes, and it does sound nice. And I randomly stumbled on this recipe, and it's also, there's a visual trick that I'm hoping to do. You might like this one, Kirsten. I was thinking of doing a slight variation on this. They have what they call a summer Americano. Really, the only difference to a normal Americano is some gentian. But what they say is 1 shot of vermouth, 1 shot of Italian red bitter liqueur, 1/6 of a shot of gentian liqueur, cardamom bitters, and a shot of tonic water. So I was thinking of doing an Australiano, do the Australian vermouth, the Ochre Amaro, and Ochre Gold. And I've got some Australian bitters as well. And just do a bit of tonic water on top. But me being a wuss is because I find the Ochre Amaro really strong. They say like 1 shot of the bitter and 1 shot of the gentian, 1/6 of a shot of the gentian. I'd probably throttle it back to half a shot of the Amaro and up the Ochre Gold to a full half shot. Still might be too bitter for me because bloody that Ochre Amaro is really quite powerful. Okay, that's a red vermouth. I could use the yuzu sweet vermouth to try and counter how bitter and powerful the Ochre Amaro is. Bunny, you like your martinis dirty and full of gin. Dirty and dry. Holy cow. You've been, yeah, see, okay, you definitely have a taste for the bitter, Kirsten, if you're drinking the Ochre Amaro neat. It's a great flavor. It's just really fucking over the top, and you have to really be into bitter. Well, maybe I'll make, might do it tomorrow night. I don't really want to make 2 drinks. Yeah, I'll do the summer drinks tomorrow night. Because I don't really want to drink 2 drinks tonight. Make the, and call it, instead of a summer Americano, make it a summer Australiano with all Australian ingredients. Oh, and I did, today was Splurge Day, according to a website. So I splurged. I finally ordered the Marionette orange curacao because, I did also notice no postage through their website. So I was like, it's okay. Order direct from Marionette, and we'll see how quick they deliver, because I ordered it today. If they want to beat the record, it'd actually have to arrive tomorrow. But they're local, so that's really possible. And that's why the Tiny Bear got here so quick, because it's local. Oh, so you have 2 printers, Locust Trooper, a MakerBot Replicator and a CR10 Mini, and the CR10 Mini can do metal. There you go. And hello, Timothy. How are you doing? So the CR10 Mini is cool, and they're only 300 to 400. Dude, like, the temptation has always been there for me to get a 3D printer because they look fucking awesome. Like, Mofo Sign has printed up some stuff. I've got some little play buttons that Mofo Sign printed up with the 3D printer. They're very cute. Bunny in the box, you are the bone dry type. Just a drop of Nolly Pratt. So really cold gin. Do you stir, shake, keep the gin in the freezer? That was one of the versions I saw for people who like it bone dry. The recommendation was keep your gin in the freezer. Then you don't have to fuck about. You just pour it straight into the glass. Yeah, from the sounds of it, you like pickle, olives and brine, and just the drop, the drop of the vermouth or Nolly Pratt in your case. Oh, cool. Yeah, of course, you're using the CAD software for your design. Luke, you're getting defensive about Dan Andrews. Seriously, that's just a really shallow bit of politicking. Stir up some absolutely meaningless controversy that will nonetheless be controversial with people to try and deflect attention from the shit of realness that is actually happening to them. So, yeah, that whole why would you go to Adelaide? There's nothing there is literally just a bit of shit stirring to try and distract from the actual real problems they're having. And they are pretty serious problems. All right, I'm going to set up my nutty cocktail, my nutty milk cocktail. Oh, yeah, definitely formed a lot of curds. Ooh, wow, it's actually separating way faster than the milk tends to. Okay, I'll show you. I'm just going to get a funnel. Okay, with the little disclaimer, I guess, that I'm not sure how well you'll see this. Ooh, let's drop it right. It's a pretty good flavour. Okay. I think this is going to be a really nice drink, actually, if the almond milk didn't... Oh, this full on with the curds. I'm not sure... Oh, yeah, I think you can see it. Can you see, it's really separated. The dairy milk one will do that eventually, but this is actually separated with lots of curds really quickly. So, okay, definitely gonna have to run it through more than once. Oops, almost fucked that up. Sorry. Just got to do a little bit of recovery stuff here. Okay, that's a bit more like it. That's a bit more like it. Pour the rest of this in there. All right. Chair, behave. So you can probably hear it running through in a drizzle. Little ASMR. That sounds like someone peeing. Yeah, the first thing going through is going to be a bit cloudy. Come on, God damn it. But that's not really a problem because I'll just put it through a second time. And although it's really funny when you explain the milk clarifying, the milk punch to anyone, when you explain that the milk curdles, that normally puts people off straight away because we're all taught that curdled milk is bad. But that's where cheese comes from. So the curds do most of the filtration. So when I first pour it through, a lot of the liquid stuff gets through before the curds all settle. So I let it all run through, and then the curds will be well and truly settled at the bottom of the filter. Then I put it through again, and then it takes much longer to go through the second time. And but it filters it much more cleanly. There you go. Buddy in the box, you're a straight gin drinker. So yeah, just stir. Yeah, I made a couple of martinis. Was it just last night? I edited the video today. It's going to go live tomorrow because tomorrow's Martini Day. And as I said last night, you could do yourself a favor and check out the Applewood Distillery live stream on Facebook. Should start about 6:30 tomorrow, run to about 7:30. I bet it runs over. So I might be late tomorrow night because I'll be watching the Applewood stream. Yes, Kirsten, why am I not surprised you bouncing up and saying, let's be friends? Kirsten, very much into the gin. But I made a couple of martinis with Australian content last night, and they were both good. They were quite different and both good. And I'll put the video of that up tomorrow for Martini Day. Timothy, sorry, I saw you ask that question. Am I getting The Last of Us Part 2 tomorrow? No, I am not. I have been only very occasionally casually gaming recently. I've been working my way through the Far Cry 5 and New Dawn because I got them in a deal. We also had Far Cry 3. I actually just fired up Far Cry 3 today. Mrs. Angry is the one who's a serious gamer. I actually got her the remastered Last of Us this week. She's playing which one? Oh God, my brain has just stopped working. Assassin's whatever. I keep wanting to say Assassin's Guild, and it's not that. But the one set in ancient Greece, and she's really enjoying that. I thought she might enjoy The Last of Us, so I got her that. All these games she's been playing, she's turned into the real gamer in the last 6 months. I want to play them. That's it. Assassin's Creed. Thank you, Megaleech. I don't know why I was thinking Assassin's Guild. Probably from playing Dungeons and Dragons, actually. So Assassin's Creed Odyssey, Mrs. Angry is quite into at the moment. And I did get her The Last of Us. I'll be interested if she likes that. See, I'm a cheap bastard. I almost never rush out and buy games or gaming platforms or anything like that. I wait till they get cheap because I'm a cheap bastard. So, yeah. Ooh, Locust Trooper, you've been 3D printing chocolate. I was going to say that printing with sugar and chocolate. Oh, that's the goddamn future. That's the goddamn future. See, we're living in the future. Abigail is watching from a VR environment, and Locust Trooper is 3D printing fruit and chocolate. Fucking awesome. Fucking awesome. I love it. Ah, Bunny, you make your own syrups. Yes. So do I. I make my own sugar syrups and grenadine. I'm actually going to make a video this weekend. I don't know when it will go live. And I probably won't do this on a live stream. I'll probably do it during the day because I think it would be too boring on a live stream because I've got to peel a bunch of lemons. I'm going to make oleosaccharum, which is basically oil and sugar. And I've talked about this on the live streams a bit, and I have made some, and it's really good. But I'm going to make a video showing how to do it. Basically, you peel your citrus, and then you basically cover it in like caster sugar, superfine sugar, and leave it for 12, 24 hours. The caster sugar leaches out not all the, but a lot of the oils from the rind and turns into a syrup. And then you add hot water to that and stir and dissolve it all. And then you've got sugar syrup with a citrusy zing, which is fucking wicked. In citrusy cocktails, just pow. It's really good. Timothy, you want me and Mrs. Angry to start a gaming channel? She would have nothing to do with this foolishness that I do. Yeah, that's not on, so you can't sort of cause any havoc. And This is the havoc of doing. See now, I say I drew the curtains across. You're definitely not being seen. There's no reflections there now. The havoc of doing these live streams in the kitchen on the regular. People want to use the kitchen, and it's like, well, I'm in here. Oh, that's an interesting one, Kirsten. Gallinell, Instagram makes incredible syrups. Cocktails Mandura. Okay, I am looking that up. Instagram. Let's look it up. Where's the searchy poos? Cocktails Mandura. Yeah, Cocktails by Corey. Bipolar bartender. Okay, so follow. Okay, so she's a very good photographer. There's some very sexily. Jesus, my photos are shit compared to these. Well, I love all these cocktail makers on Instagram who are really good photographers. Because I'm not. Well, I'm not a terrible photographer, but I don't take a lot of time with setting up. I don't set up like studio shots. Timothy, you just want me to get a gaming channel? Maybe. Who knows? Oh, Bunny, you made a couple of bottles of peach syrup. Nice. All for Bellinis and iced tea. Yes. What have I made? I've made standard sugar syrup, obviously. Made some with unrefined coconut sugar, which is very dark, is a very brown sugar. And it made this really dark sugar syrup with a really treacly sort of flavor, which is particularly in like fruity tiki drinks, works really well. I made a syrup with this stuff. This stuff that I got from a hippy dippy shop. Stevia tea leaves. Stevia is a herbal sweetener. Like you get stevia powder, and so like stevia is like 100 times sweeter than sugar, and so yeah, you only have to use 100th of it to get the sweet taste. So it's calorie saving. So I made a syrup with that, and I had some orange peel in. I boiled some stevia tea up and had orange peel in it as well to get a little orange flavor. And because there's no actual sugar in that one, the consistency of the syrup, it's not even really a syrup. It's like a sweet tea, but it doesn't taste like tea. It tastes like sugar. It tastes like sugar syrup, but it's the color and consistency of tea or water. So that worked quite well. It's a very light sweetening syrup. What else did I made my own grenadine with pomegranate, and I've almost used that up. So I got another bottle of pomegranate juice there to make some more grenadine with. I've not made peach syrup like with actual fruit syrup, but that sounds interesting. But yeah, and I've also made this oleosaccharum, the citrus oil sugar syrup. Timothy, ask heaps of gaming questions. I'm okay with it, man. Yes, we got. What was the second Wii U? We actually got both Wii U's because there was a second generation one. But yes, and I assume it still works. We got a Wii U. It's really funny with the gaming platform. Oh yeah, Kirsten, I thought I already was following you on Instagram, and I just noticed today I wasn't. So I remedied that. This is gaming platform. I bought a Nintendo 64 when it was more or less new, and it still works, and we've got some cool games for that. I bought a PlayStation 2 about a year after a PlayStation 3 came out because they were really cheap. So I'm really cheap. I skipped PlayStation 3 altogether and got a PlayStation 4. We got a Wii U and whatever the second generation Wii U was, and we have a Nintendo Switch. Although young Ms. Angry has commandeered. Well, she actually bought it. She was working and she bought it with her own monies. So the Switch is in her bedroom. So realistically, if I want to play Switch games, I basically have to buy another Switch because she's like gaming 24/7 in her room with her online friendos. So if I ever want to play Zelda Breath of the Wild again, I'm going to have to buy myself a Switch, which I might do because that's a fucking great game. Locust Trooper, ever want to get into business? Dude, in one perspective, I'm in business. And I have also done a couple of entrepreneurial, businessy things in my day. And it's safe to say they all blew up in my fucking face, quite honestly. You just spend a year or so pursuing entrepreneurial dream and then 5 years digging out of the debt hole. Oh, that's fun. That's fun. Okay, I'm not actually going to have a drink. I was going to have my thing in the cocktail, but I've got distracted. You people are all too entertaining to interact with. See this? Look, another urine sample. And I say, all the brown liqueurs, no matter how dark it is, with the brown liqueurs or the amber liqueurs, you milk clarify it, and it comes out somewhere from yellow to amber. But as I've said before, what I have found, the food coloring, and it is food coloring in my blue absinthe, is so strong. If I make one that's got my blue absinthe in it, it comes out green, usually a quite dark emerald green, which is a pleasing color because particularly if you make it a highball. If you make a highball out of one that's had this absinthe, then you'll have this really nicely green colored highball. Locust Trooper, what business did I get into? One was actually retail, which is fucking weird because that's so not me. But that was a long time ago, like fucking over 15 years ago, probably about 18 years ago. I tried to do the equivalent of a VidCon in Australia before VidCon Australia was a thing, and oh Jesus, that cost me. That didn't work, and that cost me. That was fucked. Timothy, you're saying there's a Wii U version of Breath of the Wild? That is wild. I was strictly saying you had ColecoVision, then Super. Well, okay. When I grew up, had a bloody Atari. Had some very basic ones. Bunny in the Box, you're wondering if making a syrup with fructose for times when you get dud sour citrus fruits is worth it. Not sure if fructose tastes slightly different to standard sugar because when I use it, tastes separate from the fruit in a day G&T. No, see, once you start fiddling with stuff, you introduce variables and they don't always work. So like when I tried this oleosaccharum, the fruit oil and sugar syrup, I didn't know if it's going to work. I didn't know what it was going to be like. Turns out it's good. Yeah, I quite liked it. So, yes, I do actually have an Oz One magnet on my fridge, which was not the big one. That was a smaller one that I tried to do. The bigger one was Explode and came this close. But you know what? No cunt bought tickets, or basically worked out how many tickets we need to sell to make a thing, and the advance ticket sales were only about 5% of what we needed, and it was just too big an economic risk to go ahead. So I just had to eat a fairly massive loss to avoid an even bigger loss. Not good, not pleasant. That was not a good time. And if you add in the fact that I didn't work for over 6 months as I was pulling it together, the lost wages comes into a truly horrific amount of money. So that was not my favorite time. That was definitely not my favorite time. But say la vie, should I get into wholesale lecture? Honestly, dude, it seems like too much trouble. I've just got a really cushy thing with being an IT contractor at the moment. Particularly if I get an extension next week, that might be for another year. Be really cushy. Like Trooper, wish could hear the front door right now. You're in Deer Park. Oh my God, you've got people fighting right in front of your place over a car accident. Oh, Jesus. Dude. Yeah, I feel you, dude. I lived in Sunshine and Footscray for a couple of years. I absolutely feel for you, man. Yeah, it is the Wild West. The west of Melbourne is indeed the Wild West. I tell you what, this is almost all the way through. I'm going to put this through a second time and it will look even better. Well, a few drops are going to go through. I will just drink those few drops. I'm putting it all through again. One more time, as they say in the classics. Oh, but now I get a little preview taste of what this one's like. The preview is pretty good. Oh, Jesus, dude. Oh, they're throwing hands at Locust Trooper's place. Someone's got knocked the fuck out. Oh, Jesus. Oh, dear, that's the free entertainment for tonight, Locust Trooper. Jesus. Ooh, Strictly Sega, a few years ago, invested all your money, deal with another guy to make a Mexican takeaway shop. After a year, it went under. Biggest king. Oh, dude, food. Food is fucking huge. A huge risk. Can work really well and be really fulfilling. But yeah, it's a huge risk. But yeah, I feel for you. Like I said, the one I went through after dedicating most of a year to it and losing a fuck ton of money, which no cunt who was on the periphery of actually fucking appreciated how much it fucking cost me. Didn't make a big thing about it. Here I am whining about it here, which is now many years later. But yes, at the time, there was a bunch of people I would not minded have slapping upside the fucking head because the self-centered fucking pieces of shit had no fucking idea how devastating this was to me. Oh no, the cops and the fire guys have showed up too late. The dude who got knocked the fuck out is not moving. God, Jesus, Locust Trooper on the front lines giving us the evening news of Deer Park fisticuffs. Oh well. There's a little bit of excitement for tonight. Okay, so I got my nutty cocktail. Ooh, it's looking beautiful and clarified in there. Depending, I might even put it through a third time, although it's looking very good now. It's a very light yellow. It always looks darker on the screen. What I worked out, I can show you a bit more accurately what it looks like by shining a light through it. See if I can do that again. I've got to work out the best way to do it. Under here, maybe? No, it's not really working. What did I do? I did it somewhere before that worked. Maybe there's just not enough in there. Anyway, it's a very nice, clear, bright yellow at the moment. But yes, it always comes out looking like a goddamn urine sample. Oh, God, yeah, I heard that. Like a stripper dude got stabbed to death at the Brimbank Shopping Centre. That was pretty fucking ugly. On the one level, like, oh, that's awful. On another level, I'm glad we live in a place where every time that happens, it's really significant news. Like somewhere like America with the number of fucking violent deaths they have, things like someone getting stabbed to death at a shopping center fight would barely register. Whereas here, it is rightly big news because that's fucking awful. Oh, Jesus, were you actually there? Oh, man, that's fucked up. Yeah. No, yeah, there's some sort of fight between youths and a lad got stabbed to death. Yeah, it's that's the thing. Like Strip, it happens every 6 months in Deer Park. You get cities in America, it happens 20 times a fucking night. Oh, we are so lucky to live where we do. Anywho, I'm going to bid you fine people farewell. Thank you, Locust Trooper, for providing that bit of excitement at the end of the night. Actually, thank you for the interesting stuff about the 3D printing as well. Thank you, one and all, for joining me. Time has flown by. I really scooted by. The first hour absolutely shot by. And I made the intro video for this, and in the second half, I was thinking like I'm going to have a drink. I've got I've pre-made my milk clarified drink in the fridge, but now it's bedtime. I'm going to have a drink just before. Well, I could, but I'm not going to. Save it for tomorrow night. Friday nights, party night, party all the time, party. That was Eddie Murphy. Is anyone old enough to remember that Eddie Murphy released a music album? Rick James produced it. And there was one song of it that was kind of a hit with "My girl likes to party all the time, party all the time." Thank you, one and all, for joining. I hope you look after yourselves. Hey, if you're free tomorrow night, it's be making Friday night party night, really. And it's martini day tomorrow. I might do some really weird variations on martinis because I made martinis the other night, and that video is going to be up like tomorrow morning Australian time, so it's like Thursday night North American stuff. So they'll get a little idea for the weekend, but might do some really varied stuff tomorrow and make tomorrow night party night. Anyway, look after yourself, one and all. You're fabulous people. In the words of a great Australian, I love yous all, and bye for now. Bye.